I have a very interesting fact to bring to you guys right now. Do you know that 49% of Americans have admitted to trying marijuana? See, this is very interesting because we will actually be voting on the recreational use of this drug in the month of November. Probably wondering what makes me credible to even be speaking to you guys about this. Well, personally, I've done research through scholarly reviewed articles, and I've actually gone through our proposition handbook given to us as registered state voters. And I've also done articles through EBSCOhost, which personally, as students here at Fullerton College, you guys use and trust at a great amount. And also, you probably should listen because I can help you guys get more educated on this proposition. That way you can make an educated decision on whether you want yes or no for this proposition. Specifically, we'll be speaking about Proposition 64, the legalization of recreational use of marijuana. I'll be going over the laws and regulations and how it'll change. I'll also be going over how it'll affect our state environment due to the cultivation of this plant. Also address how it affects our taxes. Now, through the regulations and everything like that, basically it's well known that anyone that's 21 years and older will be allowed to use this drug. So basically you'll be able to buy up to 28.5 grams of regular marijuana and also up to 8 grams of concentrated marijuana. Basically, you're probably wondering what concentrated marijuana is. Basically that is wax or hash. Wax is basically what its name is. It's a waxy form melted down and you get the high feeling from the vapors. And then hash is used in things like edibles such as food or drinks like herbal teas or brownies or cookies, things like that. Now with the regulations and everything, the Medical Marijuana Bureau will change its name and also change its way it functions. It will change to the Marijuana Control Bureau, and it basically will address how businesses are licensed in our state. It will also address how it's transported through our state wise, and also just dealing with all the taxes and handling, make sure everything's being processed properly. As well as being at the state level, it also comes down to the city and county levels as well. Cities and counties can choose whether they want businesses to sell marijuana in their city, but they cannot ban the transportation. They can also choose who gets the licenses and issuing things like that. Now through regulations and everything though, we're probably just wondering how are we going to regulate it in our environment. Now with the cultivation of this plant, do you know that 60 to 70% of the marijuana consumed, it's an estimated amount, 60 to 70% of the marijuana consumed in America is actually grown here in California, according to bioscience.org, which is a Harvard University type article used for sciences and everything like that. Now basically that's a lot of the production of marijuana is grown just in our state. Now imagine that with the legalization of recreational use, I'm sure that number may rise according to these numbers. If it's already illegal, I'm assuming it would rise. And the thing is about this plant, it's a very water hungry plant. There's an estimated amount that 22 liters of water is required for indoor growing. And at an estimated growing density, it'll be about 3 billion liters of water per kilometer squared. That's just for the indoor growing industry. Now for the outdoor, it is estimated about 430 million liters of water per kilometer squared. Now get an estimate about what our other crops are. Well, in the same environment that they grow marijuana outdoors, they also grow grapes. Grapes are only at 270 million liters of water per kilometer squared. That's almost double, and that's a complete crop we use on an everyday basis when it comes to our produce or even wine. Now, it's important that we realize with all this impacts of the environment, all this marijuana being grown, what are we going to do with it? We're going to sell it, of course. Now that comes down to the way we're going to tax it and the way we go about selling it. There'll be cultivation taxes on how it's grown. There'll be $9.25 per flower, and then $2.75 per leaf. And that's according to our proposition handbook given to you guys if you are registered state voters. And also, it will affect our. There'll be a retail excise tax at 15%, and the already existing taxes on marijuana as medical for sales, it'll still exist at 8% for medical and non-medical use. Now, you're probably wondering where else all this tax money can go, the revenue and everything. Well, first, the revenue will go towards paying off any agencies that are using to regulate it and make sure everything's running smoothly if this proposition is passed. After all those agencies are paid off and everything is settled, 60% of the revenue will go towards youth programs, such as how they use tobacco commercials to prevent the youth from smoking tobacco. They want to protect the youth from smoking marijuana just as they do for tobacco. And another 20% will go towards driving under the influence types of commercials and advertisements and programs to prevent that from happening. Not just marijuana, but also alcohol as well. And they will also use 20% to prevent illegal growing from infecting our environment as well, since it is known, according to Jennifer Cara from CNBC, that it can damage our environment through such things as the irrigation systems. So it's very important that we have this revenue for those reasons if it is passed. Now I've discussed you guys today about Proposition 64, legalization of recreational use of marijuana. I've discussed how it affects our taxes, how it affects our laws and regulations, and how it affects our environment. Now, again, there's an estimated amount that 49% of Americans have admitted to trying this. So look around the room. There's a chance that 50% of you in this room have tried it. Another 50% may not have. But thanks to being given information about the proposition, now you can make an educated decision on whether or not you would want this allowed in your state. Thank you.